Start the recording. BUS 2213 Principles of Business, Week 3. It's been amazing. We have some things coming up. First of all, by Sunday, just think about it, we will be 75% complete with this course. And I know it just feels like we just started, but that's kind of how the 4-week classes go. They really fly by. Also, next week we have a holiday. And I don't know if anyone has thought about this yet, but live lecture is actually on Thursday night. And I will be stuffed with turkey by Thursday night and pumpkin pie and probably unable to move. I think some of you guys may be the same way. So, since I've never taught through a Thanksgiving yet at CCC, I had to send them an email today and say, hey, what do we do for this? Let me see. Oh, I think Ms. Opal just joined. Hi, Opal. I want to be sure to get you down. Okay. So, what we're going to do is next Thursday, we won't actually have a live lecture. What I'll do, turkey roofing, exactly, guys. What is it that's in turkey? Tryptophan. Yes. A chemical that makes you want to go to sleep, exactly. So on Monday, the plan is on Monday, I'm going to put up the recording. I haven't decided what to do yet. I do have the recording from the last time I taught Principles of Business. I'll actually be using the same PowerPoint, basically the same information. But there's also, different people in it as well. So I haven't decided what to do there yet. I'll either be putting up the recording from last time or I'll be making a brand new one. The thing is, the week 4 lecture is actually fairly short. It's about 30 minutes long. So next week, just plan to watch the recording at some point during the week, type up a summary as you normally would when you miss the lecture, and submit that for your points. Now, we will be talking again about the business plan. So I want you to be sure and watch that week 4 lecture. However, if you could get it out of the way before the holidays, that would be fantastic. So you didn't have to think about all of these assignments to do when you're trying to travel around or have family at the house or whatever. So make your plans on what you can get done ahead of time. Keep up the hard work. Don't slow down. Fantastic discussion boards. What I love about this class, when will all that become available? Well, actually, Tasha, all the assignments are up right now. And the information for the final project is, of course, up in week 4. The only thing that's not up yet is the recording for week 4, and I should have that up by Monday, okay? So fairly soon, the beginning of week 4, you should be able to access that. What I really appreciate about you guys on the discussion boards is as I read through your responses, actually, I just love the way you guys are so supportive of each other in the discussion board. You're always giving helpful suggestions or reflecting on what the other person has said. And I've never really noticed that before. So I want to tell you guys good job that you're a great group and you seem to be so helpful and supportive of each other. So keep that up too. Last day of the course is Sunday, November 29th. You're welcome. Exactly. You rock, basically. So last day of course is Sunday, November 29th. Oh, and there's Miss Carrie. Let me get you down. Sunday, November 29th by midnight. Please have everything submitted by this date, by this time. Check Grade Center. Make sure you've got everything turned in. You can always turn things in late, guys, to get partial points. I've had numerous people email me over the last week saying, hey, I missed this assignment or I didn't turn in a summary or something. So yes, please turn those in to get at least partial points. Anything will help your grade. I hardly ever knock an assignment down to 0. I almost always give you something for turning that in. So definitely do that. All right, our final project, our business plan. The purpose is to practice writing a business plan related to your core area. Have I mentioned core area? Core? Okay. I've had issues in the past. That's why I repeatedly say this every time. Be sure it is related to your core area. And I know most of you, like I said, have looking on down the road, you're working on it. Okay, the grading rubric, I always like to bring that up again as well. Look at all these people coming in. Okay, I got Patricia and Jasmine just joined us as well. We're going to have a big group tonight, guys. Great. Opal, are you giving Jasmine grief about that? The final, I believe is due on, you mean the final project, Michelle? The final project is actually due Sunday by midnight, I believe. I go ahead and give you that extra day in week 4. Yeah. Yeah, so your business plan will be due Sunday, November 29th. It gives you an extra day to work on it. We like extra, right? Okay, good. Hopefully you'll have a little downtime that day if you need to focus on that. There's Lisa too. Looks like we've got people all over the place. We're going to run out of room, everyone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We have 14. No problem, Lisa. I'm glad you're here. I found out a couple days ago that Blackboard Collaborate has a limit of 24 students and 1 teacher. So one of our instructors reached her limit the other night, and not everybody could join because she had so many students log on. So I love it that you guys are hopping on this and getting all the information you need. Okay, so grading rubric. I've had several people ask about this as well. I always show you this in a PowerPoint in a chart. However, if you go on My Course Connection in week 4 and click on Final Project, you will see the same information presented. It's just not in a chart. It's item by item, and it does have the points possible out to the side. It just looks different, but it's the same information. Now, whenever you're in My Course Connection, though, there are several of these items that have links. But if you click on them, you will get more information about that item. For instance, I believe if you click on company objectives, it takes you to an external website that gives you more information on writing company objectives. So there's more information there if you need it. Okay? There's several, not all the items are like that, but several are. So we have covered coming up with your company name. I don't know, have we talked about executive summary yet? I don't think we have. We've talked about your product or service description. So we've got several different items. We haven't talked about company objectives. I think that's on the list for tonight. Oh, we have talked about the type of company formation that you're going to choose. So I believe how I color coded this. No, it's off with the red. Let me skip on to the next slide. We did in week 1 products and service description. In week 2, our company name and our business form. And this week in week 3, I'm going to tell you about how to write your executive summary, because I know some of you are probably like, what in the world is an executive summary, and I don't know where to start. So why is it important? I want you to sit kind of for a minute and visualize this. You're building this business plan, and it's going to be either in PowerPoint or it's going to be in Google Slides, either one. And I want you to pretend like the business plan that you are building is to be presented to a group of investors. So maybe you're trying to get money to help out. Maybe you're presenting to the bank for a bank loan. You're highlighting what's fantastic about your potential business and why they should either maybe loan you money, give you money, whatever's involved. So The purpose of writing an executive summary is you're trying to get the interest of the investor or the bank loan officer. You want them to know you know what you're doing. You're trying to get your foot in the door. Sometimes the only thing they will read on the business plan is your executive summary. So you may turn in a 10, 20, 50-page business plan, and the only thing they might skim over is this executive summary. So this is why it's so important. So if it's not interesting, your business plan might be just kind of put over in a stack of papers. We don't want that to happen. Writing the summary. Are you ready? Okay, our first paragraph. First of all, when I say first paragraph, an executive summary, again, I want you to picture this on a PowerPoint slide. On the PowerPoint slide at the top and the middle, I want you to put executive summary in big letters. So it's easily identifiable. I know exactly what it is, and your investors know exactly what it is. Start the first paragraph with the business name and the proposed location. We're going to talk about location too. So you're giving them the basics. You want to present the problem and the solution. So you're explaining the problem in the industry or sector that you have come up with this plan for. You're going to personalize it so that even the least knowledgeable investor for the industry gets it quickly, so they should be able to easily understand what your product or service is. The website B plans, you might look that up as well, suggest that if the purpose of the plan is to find investors, then you need to say that in your executive summary, that that's the purpose, that's why you're there. Or if you're seeking a small business startup loan, say that as well. Of course, you can always personalize it to different people. If you can't say it in 30 seconds or less and have your mom understand it, then you don't know it yourself. So that's a good way. You know, we talked about the idea of bouncing your business name off friends or family. Okay, same thing goes with your executive summary. Maybe they know nothing about your business. Maybe they know nothing about your plan. So you want to be able to read this executive summary quickly and for them to instantly understand exactly what you're talking about. I love the mom example. Okay, that was the first paragraph. You're going to have a lot of information there. Second paragraph, you're going to include your target market, who will buy the product or who will use your service. If there is a certain background, age group, or industry. We talked about target markets in one of our assignments last week. Competitors and competitive advantages. Who is your competition in this area? What makes you different? How will you go above and beyond? How is your business going to be a little more special? Okay? So basically, all you need in an executive summary are two basic paragraphs. You might have a third if you need, but this should all fit on one PowerPoint slide or one Google slide, okay? So, two paragraphs, executive summary, this basic information. And if you're not taking notes as we go along in live lecture, remember that you can always go back and look at the recording. In fact, if you were unsure on how to put together your business plan, you might go back and each week on My Course Connection and watch about the first 10 or 15 minutes of each live lecture, because I always talk about the business plan at the beginning of each lecture. So that might be a good way to sort of refresh. Okay? Executive summary. Here's a good example. Okay? ClassJunkie.com. ClassJunkie.com is an online service that will be developed and managed from my home office at 123 South Main in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Class Junkie will allow, and here's a great place where you can use bullets, letters, or numbers when you're telling them what all is going to happen. A, teachers to offer and manage courses. B, students to find courses. And C, a marketplace to sell, buy, rent course materials. So they're wanting it all together in one spot. Lack of centralized online resources makes it difficult to find adult courses and after-school programs. Instructors can't find and don't use SEO, PPC, social, or digital marketing. ClassJunkie.com's online course catalog lets people find local on-site online classes. So, are you sort of understanding from this first paragraph, you know, the name of the business, where it's located, what it does, and what makes it a little bit different too. Then it goes on with some statistics, which you're welcome to add. You don't have to have these, but maybe it makes you stand out. 44% of adults over 16 of 106 million people take classes. Adults pay an average of $101 per class. 90% of parents want after-school activities for their children and pay an average of $109 per week. So it goes on, and it tells you a little more about the competitors. And no competitor allows students to buy, sell, use class material. This will make us set us apart from the rest. So, CCC has a business competition. Yes, CCC does have a business competition. It does. In fact, one session of it just finished up, I want to say about a month ago, and it's called Opportunity Knocks, K-N-O-X, instead of K-N-O-C-K-S, because our founder's last name is Knox. And so that's kind of catchy. So they do. And what they do is you are allowed to present your idea for your business, and the winner wins a little bit of money to try to start that business. So, yes, it's there. So keep an eye out for that competition, Opportunity Knocks. Okay? They build this basically in class, but then they also practice how it's presented as well. Okay, here's an example. Oh, next year, totally guys, exactly. Here's an example of a poor executive summary. I got no idea for an awesome business, or I got an idea. I don't really know what the name will be or where it will be located. We will make different things that is different for people who like different things. 97.3% of people like different things. We will have no competition because we rock. You should probably give us the money. So, what problems do you see here? What problems are there in this executive summary? The spelling, the language. What are we missing besides spelling and language? No title or name of business, right? So they haven't told us the name of the business. What else have they not told us? Not professional, definitely. Doesn't explain the purpose at all, Patricia, that's right. What else are we missing in that first? Yes, where is that? It doesn't make any sense. Okay, so they have not presented the name of the business, where it's going to be located, the purpose of the business or service, right? Yeah, what are they wanting? We don't really know. They want some money. How do they rock with Star? We don't know. So anyway, here's an example, bad example. Yes, Michelle, and you're right, it's way too short. There's not enough information there. Everyone's spelling bad now. It's like it's contagious. It is. So you guys have probably noticed when you receive something that has maybe even just a couple spelling errors, how they really jump off the page. So this, of course, has tons of spelling errors. And you don't want that to be the only thing that these potential investors see, is your lack of English skills. And if you need a little help in that area, again, ask a friend out. Have it proofread first so that we know you're going to be looking like a professional. Okay, writing high-impact messages. Really quick, block paragraphs we want to use. We want to have single spacing. With double space between paragraphs. This is just kind of the standard right now. Do not indent the first paragraph or the first sentence in each paragraph. Your block paragraphs, create a more organized look. The headings are actually the label, and bulleted lists engage your reader because our brains like to read bulleted lists. They're fast and easy to go through, as opposed to reading one great big paragraph, right? You probably noticed that with how I present online as well. I try to keep it down to just the basics. Okay, pick the right words. In business, your message is competing with limited attention because short attention span. Companies that communicate effectively have a 47% higher return to shareholders. Good communication is essential. The right words can encourage your audience to stay with you, to stick with you, and the right words begin with the needs of your audience. What do they specifically need to hear, right? Maybe you have some cool story to tell them right off the bat. Well, it definitely needs to be connected to the business you are presenting or your idea. Be concise. I like this Jerry Seinfeld quote. I will spend an hour editing an 8-word sentence into 5. Really, that's about what you need to do for a business plan. Be clear and concise, but include all the required information, not too wordy. Pick the right words, avoid slang and any bias. So you don't want to alienate yourself by using slang, either written or verbal, in a communication. You want to get rid of, you've got a way you speak to your friends, and you've got a way that you speak to a potential investor, and those are totally separate. Avoid gender bias, age bias, race, ethnicity, and nationality bias. Whenever I taught human and family sciences, we had a class called professional development, and we did these mock interviews, which are lots of fun because it gives you a chance to get used to the process, take the stress out of having an interview, and it teaches you how to dress, what to say, how to get that resume looking good, right? So I had a young lady that was in her early 20s. She had 3 children and a husband, and whenever it came time for her interview, she said, I need to do this really quick because my husband and kids are outside. They're waiting for me, which I completely understand that situation. However, is this something that you would ever say to an interviewer? Would be no. We also went over how to dress, and she showed up in a cheetah print hoodie that she zipped up to make it look more professional. And whenever we got down to the idea of biases, I said something about, well, what are some of your strengths and your weaknesses? And so she went through a couple strengths, and they were actually pretty good. And I said, well, what are some of your weaknesses? And she said, well, I might be a little bit of a sexist. And I went, oh, well, would that be towards men or women? And she said, really more towards women because they kind of get on my nerves. I would rather talk to a man. Okay. Again, is this something you'd say in an interview? No. Then she said, well, I also might be a little bit of an ageist. Really? You're a little bit of an ageist, so what would that be? Explain it to me. And she said, well, people younger than me really get on my nerves. I like to hang out with people that are older. Okay. Again, is this anything you would bring up in an interview? The same thing goes for presenting your business plan. Of course, honesty is important, but sometimes you've got to do some rewording and find other areas where your weaknesses might be. Guy, don't be the same way. You got to be careful with those words. Try not to make grammar goofs. This is really hard because I get really tongue-tied when I'm nervous. Oh, don't cry, Guy. It's okay. I get really tongue-tied, and sometimes it's just really hard to get those words out. So the best thing you can do is slow down. Grammar goofs, of course, will distract the reader. They jump off the page. They undermine your credibility. But verbal goofs do as well. Use a professional guide. Check your grammar before doing the presentation. Practice, practice, practice is what it comes down to. Even with interview situations, practicing those potential questions will help you out so much. Okay, write high-impact messages, strike the right tone. Grammar's coming up again. Use block paragraphs, use headings and bulleted lists. Presentation to investors. Investors, possibly you, if you've seen this movie. I know a few of you have, and those of you that haven't, you don't need to watch it, but it's important to point out that they practiced their presentation, they dressed professionally, they had a video that went along with the presentation, so they actually had a lot of things together until the very end. Presenting your plan. Here's some big stuff. Be on time, and on time means early, 10 to 15 minutes. Be prepared. Bring copies of your plan that you can pass out. If you don't know how many people will be there, 5 is a general number. You want to look good, and I always say look vanilla. Okay? Think vanilla, talk vanilla. You want to go with clothes that are neutral. If you're female or male with long hair, hair up is the best way to go, because hair down can be very distracting. Maybe you've got a hair sticking out to the side. Or here's the thing, when it comes to long hair, it's actually seen as sexy. So you don't want to be the person that's doing the presentation and they're taking you as trying to look sexy, right? So hair up and out of the way is a good idea. Medium makeup, not a lot of jewelry, ladies. Comes from flats instead of heels. Put on those church clothes so that you're not going to potentially offend someone with the clothing you have. And most people know that blue is the most universally liked color. So in a presentation, you usually can't go wrong with blue or black. Okay? You want to smell good, you want to sound good, and you want to be ready for those questions. Here's something that I really didn't realize until I thought about it. A visible tattoo can actually increase your credibility in some jobs. Can you guys give me some ideas of a job where a visible tattoo might actually increase your credibility? Because I have to say, my mother is in her 70s, and she is convinced that any visible tattoos you have, you will never be able to get a job. Never, ever. Tattoo parlor, police officer, Harley Davidson. Okay, so maybe it's a little more edgy company, and the tattoo actually may give you kind of a step up. And I know that's something strange to kind of consider, but it is. For a doctor in a hospital, here's the thing, there are still some programs out there that will not let you in if you have a visible tattoo. My husband works at MSSU in Joplin, Missouri, and their nursing program will not let you in if you have visible tattoos. Yeah, what about St. John's? Are they okay with this, Patricia? They're not. Okay. Yeah, so even if the tattoos can be covered up by a long sleeve, with the nursing program at MSSU, you still can't get in. Now, the reason is that you can't always wear long sleeves. So, you know, it really just varies. Musicians, Christina Perry, in that industry, you're going to be fine. Exactly. Now, you know, are you going to stay there forever? What do you plan to do in the future? So there's some areas that you will be fine. Hand Band-Aids are my best friend. I know, Brittany. Exactly. So they do have lots of Band-Aids. They have lots of makeup that easily cover tattoos now. But you've got some areas that it's still considered a very negative thing. I hope someday we'll sort of move on from that, because they can be very beautiful. Your appearance is a powerful form of business communication. 50% of the perception of who you are is through your appearance. First impressions are hard to change but easy to manage, and don't let your look get in the way of your success on the job, right? What else? Nonverbal communication. Again, this is something you have to practice. Make eye contact with the people you're presenting to. Use a pleasant tone of voice, facial expressions, gestures, and postures. So at the very bottom, you'll notice in face-to-face communication, only 7% of meaning comes from verbal content, while 38% comes from tone of voice, and 55% comes from body language. So body language left unchecked can actually be very distracting. And I know it's hard to think of all these things all at one time, right? But again, that's where the practice comes in. Active listening, and it's funny because we're talking about this in my other class as well in ECE. We're doing an active listening assignment this week where each day they have to actively listen to a spouse or a child or a coworker for a certain amount of time and record their results. So 85% of our learning is derived from listening. And if you look at the breakdown over here on the right, the percentage of time spent listening, you'll see an hourly employee spends about 30% of their time listening, a manager 60%, an executive 75%, and a top salesman 75%. So from these results, it's basically saying the better you are at listening, the higher your potential is to move up in a company and to make more money. So you don't just speak to people, you listen to them as well. And active listening is making eye contact, reflecting about what they have said, sometimes repeating what they have said, and letting them know that you are engaged with them and that you're hearing them. We all want to be heard. Hook them and reel them in. Introduce your key points. Statistics, data, and expert quotes is necessary. You know how to love quotes. You got to know. I do. Closing. Summarize your key points verbally. Signal that you're done so that they know you have finished your presentation. You don't want them just hanging there on the ledge. Questions. Indicate time for questions. Be prepared to answer them. Visual aids. Increase your retention. PowerPoint is really a tool, but it's very helpful. You'll notice in my live lectures I always have a PowerPoint. Handling nerves, use your nervousness, your adrenaline. Mitigate the anxiety, so help kind of tackle that. Practice, I've already went through some of these. Use selective notes you don't want to read verbatim. Look at your audience at least 50% of the time. Kind of hard to do, so you really have to have it memorized. Stick to your allotted time. Slow down, listen to yourself. Don't apologize. If you mess up, you just keep on going. And remember to use natural gestures. Which brings us to our final slide of the evening. See, that's how you know it's the end of my presentation. Are there any questions? One is not simply end a presentation without a thank you slide, right? I want you guys to really get going on that business plan this week if you haven't already. Time is ticking by. It will take you some time to put it together. You will have questions. I will be available to answer questions over Thanksgiving. I may not get back to you super quick, but I'll be checking off and on about every probably 3 or 4 hours, say on our holiday days. So don't be afraid to send me questions. I'll try to get right back to you, okay? And any questions? Not at the present time, exactly. They will come up though, I know. You're using PowerPoint, you're using Google Slides. You're putting this information together. And if I go all the way back up here to, I went too far. If I go back up to the grading rubric, you should be putting them in this order. Your company name, your executive summary, your company objectives. So use this as a list PowerPoint together, okay? Get each one. So if there's so many questions, if you guys that don't have thought bubbles popping up are ready to go, you're welcome to head on out. Thank you. Have a good night. What was that? Is there supposed to be a certain amount of slides? I think we counted it up before, Jasmine, and it's around 10 to 12 would be the minimum number of slides. Okay, lots of questions, exactly. Email me later, that'll work too. Have a good night. You guys have a good Thanksgiving too. Don't forget to check back for the recording on Monday, okay? Bye, guys. Good night.